Hi folks, Sandy. Welcome to the Kendo Show. So here we are for episode 2 of Kendo Zero to Sandan. This is a new video series that I've been working on. It is essentially a follow-on or an addition to the previous Kendo Zero to Shodan series that was very, very successful. Essentially what I want to do with the Zero to Sandan series is not just follow on from Zero to Shodan, but go back and revisit some of the things I'd like to give a little bit more insight into and take things a bit further to give everybody what they need to get all the way up to third dan or sandan in Kendo. I hope this will be useful for everybody who is obviously on that path and for Kendo instructors as well who are trying to help their students get through the Kendo grading system. And of course, achieve the Dan grades in Kendo. The reason it goes up to Sandan is because Sandan is the sort of the top grade where Kendo is examined from a technical standpoint. So we're hoping to look at lots of different areas of technical Kendo development. Again, the things that we'll be going through all the way up to Sandan. Today we're going to be talking about Kendo Kata. Episode 1 was about the different kamae or the stances that are used in Kendo Kata. Today we're going to look at the actual Kendo Kata application and practice, looking at the key points to focus on and the mistakes to avoid as well. We'll go through that. And hopefully it'll be useful to you. Now, before we jump in, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all the YouTube wonderful things. And most importantly, if you do like this series, if it has been helpful to you, or if other videos from our channel have been useful, it's very, very important that you support us by shopping at kendostar.com. The videos we put out on this channel are free of charge. As you know, we never charge you anything for them. There's no subscription, there's no Patreons, none of that sort of stuff. All you have to do is shop at Kendostar. Kendostar is my company, of course. It's a win-win situation. You get the best Kendo equipment in the galaxy, in the universe, in the history of mankind. Of course, I would say that as the owner. But everybody agrees with me. We're one of the highest rated e-commerce websites on the internet with Trustpilot.com. That's an independent reviews aggregate, not just in the Kendo field, in all of e-commerce. So you get great equipment, you get great service, the best service really, and you get to support the channel. It really is a win-win. So shop at kendostar.com. Right, without further ado, let's have a look at these kata. Okay, so here we have the pre-recorded footage of us practicing the kata. Here Miyuki will be acting as the uchitachi and I will be acting as the shitachi. Essentially, the way we're going to run this is we will run through the first, well, all 10 of the kata first. We're doing all 10. I know that the guidance to Sandan is usually up to 7, just the Tachi no Kata, but different countries do it differently. So we're going to run through all 10 just in case. We're going to run through those. I'll give some commentary and explanation as to what's happening. And then we'll look at some bad examples. And then we'll basically run the whole thing again. Without any commentary, just so you can watch it. Okay, so obviously starting at the 9 pace distance, we start in the sort of shizentai posture, and we go to Taito by moving the sword from the right hand. The sword starts on the right side, across the front of the body, over to the Taito position on the left hip with the thumb on the tsuba. Okay, the thumb on the tsuba. After day, of course. 3 steps in from the right foot and we meet at the yokote distance to do sonkyo. Yokote is the distance here, as you can see, where the tips of the bokuto are just touching together. Then from the I Chudan posture, so we're both in Chudan, we take 5 steps back, covering the same distance, and return to the 9 pace distance. Okay, so the distance that the kata always starts from. after releasing the kamae here. Then return to Chudan, and this is the position that all of the kata start from, okay? From the I Chudan posture at 9 paces. Now, bit of a confession, we did not record this in a single take, so there's a little bit of chopping and changing. I've tried to add in a few different angles as well so you can see, but also, you know, there's going to be a few different sort of color variations and stuff like that, and maybe it's going to jump around a little bit in terms of placement, but just forgive us on that. I just wanted to give the best examples that we could. So we're going to start with Tachi no Kata Ippon-me, okay? Ippon-me, the Tachi is going to step forward to left Jodan. We're not going to talk about the details of the kamae. You can go and watch episode 1, which is given an in-depth discussion on the and demonstration of the kamae, okay? They're going to go to left Jodan. In response, the Tachi goes to right Jodan. Then they're going to take 3 steps together, okay? 3 steps together. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Then the Uchitachi is going to step forward on the right foot and try to cut straight through the Uchitachi, through their hands, through their head, all the way down. And they're going to do this, and they're going to break posture as they do it, because they're going to really put the force into it. They're stepping forward on the right, and then make sure that the left foot comes up together with it. Okay. A common mistake is to leave the left foot behind. In response, the Shitachi is going to step back, raise their hands out of the way, and then retaliate with a men strike. Okay, you're going to see this here. Okay, like this. So step back and forward strike. Okay, and what's important here is that the distance is correct. Okay, so where she has stepped through and cut, this is roughly, it would have cut through where I was. And when I return my strike, my monouchi, correct cutting part of the blade, is in the correct place over her head. Okay, you can see her posture is slightly broken, though she has brought up the left foot behind. Okay, her shout is ya, mine is to. Okay, then they take a step back. The Uchitachi takes a step back, a small step back, and for Zanshin, the Shitachi lowers the sword in front of the Uchitachi's face. Then they take another large step back. Okay, another large step back. The Uchitachi takes a large step back, and in response, I take Zanshin by stepping to left Jodan. Okay, Hidari Jodan. The Uchitachi's posture is still slightly broken at this point. Then, after a short pause, the Uchitachi starts to regain to Chudan no Kamae and return to their posture. And the Shitachi meets them by returning from left Jodan, stepping back on the left to Chudan, and we meet at roughly the same time, roughly in the center where we started, in the I Chudan position. We release the Kamae and return to the 9 pace distance. Okay, this is Ippon-me. Next is the Tachi no Kata Nihon-me. Okay, Nihon-me. Here we both start from the I Chudan position. However, when we meet in the center here, we are closer than the Yokote distance. We are now at the distance where the Uchitachi is able to strike kote. I place a small amount of pressure against her sword, inviting her to strike or cut towards the kote, okay? The kote. She's going to make a step forward and cut towards the kote. In response, I'm going to step away diagonally backwards to my left, and I'm going to drop my sword down to the sort of gedan level, and then I'm going to return with a kote strike of my own. Here, here, okay? Kote strike of my own. Now, what's key here is my hips are square to her. I haven't stepped too far away, and most importantly, my sword is still pointing towards her body. Okay, it's still pointing towards her body. Then she takes a step back, and the Shitachi takes a step back onto the center line. We meet in the middle at the Yokote distance. Next is number 3, Sanbon-me. Both parties assume the I gedan, so we both go to gedan. When we take our steps to the center, there's a slight gap between the swords. This is a good way to judge the distance, because what's going to happen here is we're both going to slowly raise to Chudan. Obviously, in the kata, the uchitachi almost always moves ahead of the shitachi, okay? The shitachi is almost always following the movements of the uchitachi. So, the uchitachi starts to raise to Chudan, and in response, I also start to raise to Chudan. Once we get to Chudan, we've gone a little bit ahead of ourselves. Let's skip back a little bit. Once we get to Chudan, the uchitachi steps forward on the right foot, turns their sword so that the blade is pointing to the right, and makes a ski thrust to the sort of sternum or solar plexus area of the shitachi. In response, the shitachi takes a step back on the left, turns their wrists, and uses the back of the sword to deflect this ski. Let's see if we can, here, like this. Okay, so she makes the ski, and I step back on my left, turn my wrists so that the back of my sword is deflecting. Okay, I'm slightly turning, I'm slightly pushing from above here. Okay, and then I make a return thrust exactly the same as she did towards her solar plexus as well. Okay, so I'm stepping forward on my right, making the ski. Now, as I do that, she steps back on her right foot. So her left foot is in front now, turns ever so slightly with her hips. The sword comes underneath, and then she deflects using the curvature of the sword, the sort of side of the sword here, almost like she's sort of cutting down into it to deflect this ski. Okay, she has to use her wrists in this way, underneath and this way. Okay, then I'm going to step forward. Now, the second step forward, it's not a ski in itself. This is just a kind of semi. All right, and as I do that, she's going to cover my sword by coming back over the other side. She's stepping back on her left foot this time, so her right foot is back in front, and she's turning the sword again the opposite way so that she's covering it and deflecting it using her wrist here, like this. Okay, can you see that? This is not a ski in this second movement. Okay, then here's where it gets complicated, and here's where everybody kind of gets messed up. As I step forward here, by the way, I've stepped forward on my left foot. Okay, so my left foot is now in front. Her left foot is behind, her right foot is in front. Now, the natural reaction here is she'll want to step back with the right foot, because she sort of stepped back with her right foot and then her left foot, and then following that pattern, her right foot will go back again. But that isn't what happens. What happens next is she's going to take 3 steps back as I continue my semi forward. I'm using Ayumiashi here, okay, crossing footwork. We're going to take 3 more steps, okay? 1, 2, 3. So I'll end up with my right foot in front. But she's going to take these 3 steps back, starting with her left leg now, okay? And it's still Ayumiashi, it's still crossing. So it's going to go left, right, left. So her right foot ends up in front, okay? Now, if you mess this up and you go, step back on your right, step back on your left, and then go with your right next, your left foot's going to end up in front. And that's what a lot of people struggle with this kata in the beginning. All right, so it's right back, then left, right, left is the way that it goes for the uchitachi, okay? Okay, so you can see here that her right foot is in front and my right foot is in front. As I come forward here, my kensen raises so it is directly in front of her face, okay, for zanshin, and she releases the kamae here. She is in a kind of mugamai position. After a short pause, she starts to return to the chudan position. As she does this, starting with my back foot, I'm going to take 5 steps back to the middle position, and she's going to join me on the 3rd step using Ayumiashi from the right foot, okay? 1, 2, 3 here, and we're going to end up in the middle, basically at the yokote position, okay? And that is kata number 3, sanbonme. That's one of the tougher ones, okay? That's one of the tougher ones. So go back, and we're going to watch this again later. We're going to look at the common mistakes, and we're going to also show you it again, sort of without the commentary at the end. You can replay that, watch it in slow motion and stuff as well. Okay. Okay, next we're going to move to kata number 4, tachi no kata 4 honme. Okay, 4 honme is another little tricky one. What we're going to do here is essentially the uchitachi is going to move to hasso no kamae. Okay, hasso no kamae, and in response I'm going to take wakigamae. Okay, again, for details on these kamae, go and watch episode 1. All right, because that's where the details for that are. We're going to take 3 steps in here, but these are small tentative steps. Okay, these small tentative steps. So we've got a very long distance between us. That's because we're both going to step through on our right foot as we make our cut. All right. So what's going to happen first is, if I can manage to pause this in time, we both first, as we step through on the right, we move to the right Jordan position and transition from the right Jordan position to a men strike. Okay, but we are too far away from each other to reach a men strike. And that is intentional. That is okay. All right, this will be ayuchi, men strike like this. Okay, and neither of us can reach each other. All right. The swords are then locked together at this position. This position is called kirimusubi. Okay, kirimusubi. Okay, so the swords are sort of locked together. There's a slight tension between the two, and keeping this tension, we both revert to chudan. Okay, we revert to chudan with this slight tension between us. Once we get to near pretty much the chudan level, I actually release the tension slightly. And in response to the shitachi releasing the tension, the uchitachi makes the ski from right foot, left foot is the footwork. Ski, turning the blade so that the sharp bit goes to the right, the blade edge goes to the right. Turn it this way, and she's aiming for my right lung. Okay, my right lung. Okay, she's gonna do this ski. She's gonna slightly overextend herself as she does it. Okay, as she does that, I'm going to step diagonally forward and left on my left foot, and my right foot's going to come back. And as I do that, I'm going to perform a technique called uke nagashi. Okay, uke nagashi, where I'm going to use my wrists and elbow slightly and the blade to deflect the ski in this direction. Okay, this direction. Right, you'll see in a moment. And as the right foot comes around, we're going to make the men strike. As I do that, because I'm coming off away from the body line, the uchitachi retains eye contact and keeps facing towards the shitachi. Okay, so they are allowing the uchitachi the chance to strike or cut to the men. This way, okay? You see how she's presenting me the strike. Remember, the uchitachi is the teacher, okay? This is a little bit like uchikomi in a way, in that the shitachi is uchitachi is allowing the shitachi to make the strike. Okay, like this. Again, you can go and watch this in slow motion later. Then we take a step back she takes a step back, I step over, and we return to our original yokote position. Okay, this is kata number 4, tachi no kata 4 honme. Okay, next we have 5 honme, tachi no kata 5 honme, number 5. Okay, number 5. Here, the uchitachi takes the left joran, similar to how they do in kata number 1. And in response, I take the chudan against left jodan. Okay, jodan ni taisuru chudan no kamae. Okay, again, details of that are in episode 1. Now we take our 3 steps in, and at this point, once we get here, the uchitachi makes a cut for men. Okay, men. And the shitachi steps back on the left and performs suriage with the sword. Okay. At the moment of impact of the suriage, the shitachi relaxes and lets the sword fall. Okay. Okay. And after suriage, I strike men. Okay. So I'm stepping back, suriage, men. Okay, but I say to, not men. Okay. That's it. Okay, making sure that I'm striking with the correct part of the sword. Then I withdraw the sword to in front of her face for zanshin, and immediately, once the sword ends up in front of her face, I immediately step back to left jodan and take zanshin from left jodan. This way, okay? After a short pause, the uchitachi starts to return to the chudan no kamae, and I return to the chudan no kamae to meet her. And because of the nature of this kata, we end up on this side of the room. We then take 3 steps towards uchitachi, okay? 3 steps. And again, uchitachi is always the leader here. Uchitachi is always the leader. And that's kata number 5, okay? Okay, so tachi no kata 6本目, slight exception. Okay, it's one of the few exceptions where the shitachi is going to move first. Okay, but only at the point where they take the kamae. Okay, so here the shitachi is going to move to gedan no kamae. Okay, but that's the only point that they're moving first in this kata. Okay. You could argue that the kata starts from this position, so they're not in fact moving first. But let's just, for the sake of argument, the shitachi moves to gedan and the uchitachi moves to chudan, retains chudan. Sorry. Then the uchitachi takes the lead, and they both move the 3 steps towards each other. Here, the shitachi starts to raise the shinai and seme towards the hands from below towards the uchitachi, okay, almost as if they were going to come up and maybe make the tsuki to the abdomen. In response to that, the shitachi is going to step back to left jodan. Now she steps back to left jodan and immediately follow with the jodan ni taisuru chudan no kamae, immediately. So realizing that is not a viable position either, they retreat to chudan. But I follow to chudan as well, and the uchitachi makes a somewhat reluctant small cut to the shitachi's kote. In response, the shitachi is going to step to the side and make kote suriage kote, okay? This way. So I step with my left and right, okay? Just diagonally, okay? So that I make the correct distance here. Now again, my sword is pointed directly towards the uchitachi. The uchitachi retreats, okay? They retreat diagonally to their away and to their left. Their body and hips are facing away from the shitachi at this point, okay? They're facing away, they're facing over towards the wall there. And the sword is in this sort of mugamai posture. However, their face and eyes are still towards the shitachi. Because they retreat, the shitachi takes left jodan for zanshin, okay? Then after a short pause, they both regain chudan position in the starting positions at the yokote distance, okay? And that is number 5. Sorry, that was number 6. Okay, the last of the tachi no kata, 7 honme, okay? This is number 7. Both start from the I chudan position. The uchitachi makes a forward tsuki with the sword straight forward, and the shitachi receives this by also making the tsuki as they step backwards. This is a kind of, it's not so much a physical attack, but an attack of the spirit. This is called kiatari. Okay, you know, taiatari, you have where you clash with the body. This is kiatari. It's the feeling of this movement here. And I didn't pause quite in time, but here the shitachi is stepping forward on the left as they raise the bokuto over their head, and then step forward on the right as they make a big cut down to try and cleave shitachi in 2. In response, the shitachi steps to the right on the right foot, and then using ayumi ashi on the left foot, they make a strike to the door, okay? And then take zanshin by taking the kneeling on the floor and keeping their eyes on the shitachi, or uchitachi, sorry. Uchitachi breaks eye contact momentarily for this kata, okay? As they then look round to regain eye contact, and at which point the shitachi takes wakigamae as zanshin. Okay, so she looks around, I take the wakigamae. Okay, from this kneeled position. Then we both take the jodan position and chudan position, and she steps back to take the distance here so that we're at the good distance. Then the uchitachi takes another step back to allow the shitachi to step up. And then in 5 steps, we return to the original position and perform sonkyo from the yokote distance. Okay? And this is kata number 7, right? So next, we will look at the kotachi no kata. Okay, the kotachi no kata. So, first, the uchitachi takes left jodan. In response, I take the hanmi against jodan. Okay, again, this is in the video of episode 1. Okay, now, similarly to kata number 1 and a little bit like kata number 5, it's a bit more like kata number 1. She's going to take 3 steps in and she's going to step through on the right and cut all the way through. Okay, now the thing is here, it's a bit different here, is she wants to avoid something called irimi, which is where if we get too close, I'm going to jump inside her distance and take the advantage. So before that happens, she makes the cut. So she's taking 1, 2, 3 and cut type pace. Okay, she doesn't stop after the 3rd step and then cut. It's 1, 2, 3 cut. Okay, you'll see from here. Okay, and again, I make the ukenagashi using the shinogi, the side of the blade, and I step using hirakiashi with my right foot in front, to my right, diagonally to my right, and then make the strike to the men. And I take zanshin in jodan before returning to aichudan and back to the center. Okay, quite simple, but there's a few things. Okay, so kotachi no kata 2本目. Okay, 2本目, number 2. Uchitachi is going to take gedan no kamae, and I'm going to take the hanmi position in response to that. 3 steps in, and the uchitachi starts to raise the sword as if to come to chudan, but I'm sort of blocking it with my kotachi here. So instead, she moves back to wakigamae, and I step forward immediately with the kensen towards her face, and then she makes an immediate step through and again tries to cut down the center. So she's stepping through on the right foot at this point. In response, I'm going to make the ukenagashi on the opposite side this time, as I step forward and diagonally left on my left foot. And as I bring my right foot round, I make the men strike. I bring the bokuto to my hip for zanshin, and I take hold of her elbow here. Okay, take hold of her arm here. You just need to hold it. You don't need to do anything sort of extreme. You don't need to dig any fingers in or turn it or anything like that. You just need to hold it. Okay, for zanshin. Then, after a short pause, starting with my right foot, I return to the chudan position, at the starting position, and she steps back to the starting position as well. Okay, now number 3, kotachi no kata 3本目. Here, again, the shitachi assumes the kamae first, okay? What we're doing is we're doing a hanmi gedan kamae, okay? This is again in the episode 1. Here, it's a little bit complicated. What's going to happen is, as you'll see, 1, 2, 3, on the 3rd step, the uchitachi makes a men strike. And this is where she says ya, okay, on this men strike, okay? Here, the shitachi, sorry, raises the kotachi up for suriage. Okay, suriage. Then, after suriage, they push. The way I like to do it is I push the right hand sort of diagonally downwards to the left, sort of 45 degrees for suriotoshi. Okay, here. After the suriotoshi, the shitachi will step through on her left leg and strike for do here. Okay, I will step through on my left leg, turn side on, and cover her sword with mine using suri nagashi. Okay, here. Then, taking hold of her elbow again, I'll turn the sword. You can't see from this angle, I know it's not great, but I'll turn the sword slightly and bring it up to the tsuba, so it's making us almost like a cross sign between her sword and mine for this surikomi. Okay, and then we will take 3 steps diagonally backwards for the uchitachi. Okay, diagonally backwards and left, and diagonally forwards and right for the shitachi, starting with the left foot for the uchitachi and the right foot for the shitachi. 1, 2, 3 this way. Okay, so that we then end with the uchitachi has the right foot back and the shitachi has the left foot in front. Okay, so this is the correct footwork. Okay, I'm holding the right elbow of the shitachi, and then I take zanshin by pointing the bokuto towards her throat. Okay, again, not the best camera angle, sorry about that. Okay, then starting with the left foot, I return to the starting position here and sonkyo and finish. So there are some of the key points and sort of principles of the Nihon Kendo Kata. Look, I know it's not as sort of in depth as it could be. There's all sorts of other little fine points and things, but there's also, you know, there's a lot of material out there on the Kendo Kata. I just wanted to give you something from my side of it, really. Let's have a look now at some of the common mistakes. Okay, some of the common mistakes in the Nihon Kendo Kata. So, here, this is a very common mistake. Here, so here, the distance isn't right. The uchitachi isn't fully stepping through in order to make the distance to cut, and the shitachi also is not making enough distance to reach the target. Okay, so not reaching the target. It's not correct. Okay. Next, let's see what happens. Okay, so here, there's a very, very common one. The mistake here is the shitachi is moving before the uchitachi. Okay, the shitachi is moving before the uchitachi. This is not correct. See here, this is not correct. The uchitachi moves, so the shitachi moves. Okay, here I'm starting to move before the uchitachi has moved. This is not correct the way to do. Okay. Kata number 2. Neither of us are actually making the strike towards the relevant target. This is not an accurate strike. Okay, so no good. Here I've stepped too far around to the left, and my sword is pointing towards the wall and not towards the uchitachi. For this one, the uchitachi is swinging the kote strike diagonally. She's not swinging the straight kote strike. Okay, so it's not really presenting me with a good target. Here we are on kata number 3, 3本目. And here you can see I make a clear ski on the second movement, which is not correct, okay? It should be one ski, but not the second ski, okay? Oh, you've gone back a bit too far. Okay, so here, one ski, but not this one. This second one is not ski, okay? Second one is just semi. Okay, so here we are at number 4. Here we're obviously very, very close. This is far too close for us to properly do this without stepping back, okay? And neither of us did make a step back. Now, you're not supposed to step back at this point anymore. It used to be, maybe 20 years ago, you used to have to step back. But now you don't step back unless you find yourself in this position. Then the uchitachi can take a step back if you've accidentally done that. But the key to that is don't accidentally do that and make the right distance in the first place. Okay, we're far too close, and our cuts are not accurate at all. Okay, because we're far too far away. Okay, so this is another very common one. This time, instead of stepping diagonally forward, on the uke nagashi, I've stepped diagonally or simply diagonally, and then when I brought the right foot in, it's brought me away from her, so I'm too far away to reach. Okay, so you have to step diagonally forward with the left so that when the right foot comes back, you are at the correct distance to make the men strike. Here's number 5. As to this one, yeah, I saw that one coming. Basically, on this one, you can go back there. This is all fine, but here I pause too long here. Okay, you don't pause here. As soon as you get to here, you go straight back to Jordan. So this is the mistake in this one. Okay. Number 5 again. This time, obviously, this is an incorrect suriage. This is just bashing the sword out of the way. And for number 6. Here, the shitachi is facing towards the uchitachi is facing towards the shitachi instead of their face should keep towards the shitachi, but their body should be facing away. Okay. Number 7. Lots of things can go wrong here. Here, the shitachi has broken eye contact. Okay, broken eye contact. The uchitachi should break eye contact, but the shitachi must not. Okay, so here I retain the eye contact. This is correct, but on taking the eye contact, the uchitachi has moved to wakigamae. Okay, this is incorrect. Okay, this is incorrect. You should not take the wakigamae at this position. This time for the kotachi 1本目, there's too long of a pause at this position. Okay, so as I said, the uchitachi must make their attack as soon as they reach the distance. Watch that again. You'll see what I mean. Okay. There shouldn't be a stop here. It should be immediate. Okay. Here I am blocking with the sort of side of the sword like this. You know, I'm blocking straight on like that. This is not correct. Okay, this is not uke nagashi. Okay. So don't block like that. Here for number 2. Again, I'm blocking with the side of the sword. Focus. People do this often because they focus on wanting to get that kind of clash noise from the bokuto, but you don't need to do that. Okay, so I have to defend with the side of the sword. Okay. This is number 3. Here you can see. If you watch my concentration, I am watching the sword too much like this. This is incorrect, okay, to do this way, okay? Okay, Okay, so there's some common mistakes. Of course, there's lots more. There's lots more, but these are just some common mistakes for you. And then yeah, if you avoid them, yeah, you should be okay. What we'll do now is we'll watch them all again. The correct examples. We've done our best to do the examples we can. Of course, we're not perfect either. But you know, it's good enough to get you through Sandan. Let's put it that way. So we'll watch those now, and then that will be the end of the video. Before I hit play on that, I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm going to disappear for the rest of this, and if you did, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, you know, all that sort of thing. Of course, as I said, you know, this isn't everything. It's not a complete guide to Kata. It's kind of, you know, there's a lot more as well. You do need to practice it with your partners. You check out the other resources that are out there. There are many. And obviously, if you can get guidance from a teacher as well, that's going to be the best. But I do hope you like this video, and I hope to see you in the next episode of Kendo 0 to Sandan. Support us by shopping at Kendo Star, and we'll see you next time.